Welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. We're here with Pastor Mike and Kevin, Jesus Unfollower. What's going on, man?
What's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, and it's actually a pleasure to have you here at the Roundtable. How do you think it's a nicely shaped table, right? It's kind of made of oak.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful table.
Yes, atheist wood. We chopped it down. It's actually quite old. It's scientifically dated, carbon dated back to the a little bit further than the Bronze Age, actually. But however old the Bronze Age is, add 1,000 years. Anyway, dude, let's go straight into it. Let's do a deep dive. You familiar with deep dives?
I've heard a little bit about these deep dives.
Yeah, well, they're extensive in the sense that we do go deep. But if I can just push pause on the deep dive, I'd like to go ahead first and showcase a little bit of Murder Shed Steve. Murder Shed Steve is going to be coming on the show in a little while, and I know he's a fan of yours. He said, Pastor Mike, I know you're having Kevin on, and can I please ask some questions? I said, yes, of course, but I'm just going to showcase Murder Shed Steve. So hang on just a second, and we'll be right back.
So I'm about to go meet up with T-Jump for dinner. We're gonna chop it up. Well, hey everybody. I'm hanging out here with T-Jump. Just to verify that he's still alive. Gotta make sure to do that. And we're about to say a little prayer to our Lord and Savior, the Pastafarian God. He boiled for your sins. As you can see, I have my bowl of ramen here. In his name, ramen. So hungry, I'm sure. Oh.
Yes, so that's Murder Shed Steve. And by the way, guys, in a little while, don't forget to drop your questions in for Kevin. We're going to be coming back up from the deep dive for some air at some point. And Steve will be coming out to ask the questions. And like and subscribe if you enjoy the content as well. So Kevin, welcome to the round table. And before we get into it, what's your favorite ice cream?
My favorite ice cream. I'll be lame and say chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip?
Regular ass chocolate chip, yep.
Yeah, is that with a vanilla base, or are we going chocolate as well?
Vanilla base.
Vanilla base, okay.
Yep.
All right. So you were a Christian at one point.
I was, yes. For my childhood, I grew up Baptist, but just kind of in name, like going to church on Sundays. That was about the extent of it.
And from what I understood, born in Michigan, raised in Georgia, you've kind of gone back and forth to Tennessee at some point too, right?
Yes, I've crossed over the Tennessee-Georgia line like 3 different times. I keep having to switch my driver's license, which is a pain in the ass. But
huge pain. Yeah.
I think I've finally settled, at least for now. I'll probably go back and have to go through that again, but who knows?
Yeah, we're not too far away from myself. You remember J. Mike and Just Jeff? We're all Georgia folks. I mean, we could probably throw stones at each other. What they call it, the Bible Belt area.
Oh yeah, that's what we call it. Oz he's lucky enough to not be one of us, isn't he?
Oh, he educated me. I've been pretty ignorant to this whole Southern religious thing because I've been in Georgia now about 10 years and I was raised in Europe. But according to Oz, it's pretty biblical up there in Indiana where he's at. So growing up as a Christian boy, tell me what's going on. Are you going to these churches where they do these pantomimes? I heard about the little plays they do. Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, in high school, I started going to a Pentecostal church, and they put on a production, a play, drama, whatever you want to call it, called Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but it's batshit crazy and basically fear tactics to scare people into salvation.
oh, wow. How much
They would do like little skits. You know, it would be like high school teens drinking and driving, and then having an accident, and them waking up dead or whatever at the gates of heaven, and trying to see if they can get in or not. So either their name is in the Lamb's Book of Life and they can get into heaven, or they're screwed and the demons run up from off stage and grab them and pull them off the stage. And it's like, like Satan laughing, and like fire and pyrotechnics and shit. So it's pretty nuts.
What are the age groups here? What are we talking?
I think the church would say like, don't let, be cautious. Maybe don't bring your kids, but people still brought their kids to come watch this thing. And some of the skits would involve like mothers and daughters, and, fathers and sons, where the fathers were leading their kids astray, and they ended up not being saved and going to hell. And it was just crazy. A lot of fear tactics.
I feel like there's a whole show like that can be done on that. We could talk
Oh,
about
for
this
sure.
for a whole hour. So,
Yeah.
so you're telling me there's a play that churches do. Is it a specific denomination that does this, or is this across the board?
I don't think it's a specific denomination. I think it's actually like this group like tours the country / world doing these plays. And I think probably it's mostly Pentecostal churches and types like that who let them come in, or like evangelical type. I'm not sure if more of the conservative churches, would put this on, but definitely Pentecostal churches, which is what I was attending at the time. And that's really where I gave my life to Jesus too. It was part of, because growing up Baptist, and we just went to church and just sort of went through the motions. And it wasn't until high school that I really started living for Jesus. And that play scared the hell out of me and made me think that I need to change my life. And so that's kind of where it all started for me.
Well, judging by your name, it sounds like you took it back. So congratulations.
Yes, I took it back.
Yes, sir.
I get some flack from the Christian community for my name. Obviously you still believe you have Jesus in your name.
Oh, yeah. That gives it away, doesn't it? Yeah.
Except for the second word part. I guess you didn't see that.
Yeah, you stopped at Jesus.
Exactly.
So you're currently Tennessee, right?
Currently in Tennessee, just barely across the border, Chattanooga.
Beautiful state, though. I do like Tennessee. I have a friend that I visit there. He trains dogs for the police. Great state, and it's not too far. It's about a 5-hour drive for me where I'm going. Now, let's delve into your social media platform. Love the look. I think you've got a very polished vehicle, and you obviously use a nice wax on that vehicle. So I came across you on TikTok, and then I immediately went and checked out your YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm really surprised that you don't have the following that you should have, in my opinion. So folks, go like and subscribe to Kevin's channel if you can.
Show me some love.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be dropping the links and stuff here shortly. But cool. Tell me what motivated you to get into the podcasting and the activism that you are currently pushing forward now.
Okay. Yeah, I became an atheist in 2010, 2009, somewhere in there. And I sort of became indifferent about religion, God, whatever, for the last 9 years. It was like, yeah, I didn't believe, but I didn't really care. And then last year, I started dating a girl who was Seventh-day Adventist. And I went to church with her several times, just against my better judgment, I guess. But I was like, it's not that big a deal. I'll go to church with her, whatever. And we had a good relationship, but we ended up breaking up due to our differences in religion. And so that sort of refueled the fire for me to be like, you know, screw religion, man, because it messes up good things. And so I was like, it started on Instagram for me. I was like, I'm going to create an Instagram account and start making religious memes and stuff like that. Then it sort of snowballed into like finding community over there that I didn't really expect, like other people who were kind of going through the same things, or, you know, creating content over there, like ex-Christians and stuff. And I was like, damn, this is really turning into something. And then I started my podcast in February, end of February, beginning of March. And I haven't really done much with YouTube until the last month or so. And I've started doing more videos and stuff. I got a better camera and a little, you know, some lighting and stuff. But that fire really ignited for me. And I was like, I know that there are people out there who are in the same situation that I was years ago, kind of leaving religion and feeling alone in a place where most of the people around you are Christians, and, you know, they're posting Jesus stuff on Facebook every single day or whatever. And you have to see all that. And if you say anything about it, or if you post any, you know, atheist content or anti-religious memes, and they take it personally. So I was like, I know there's got to be more people who feel that same way. Like, you have to repress this, your atheism, and not be outspoken about it. And so, and the more content I create, the more people I find who say, you know, thanks, I really like this content, or I've been looking for a community, so this is awesome. And it just sort of snowballs, you know.
Yeah, what I really like about it is the way you push out your content. It's almost indicative of how a theist would be preaching in a way. You're advocating for atheism very nonchalantly, like atheism should be normalized. You're pushing atheism like so that it should be destigmatized in the communities just as much as Christianity or Islam and everything else. I really like that approach. That's what caught my eye. And it's funny. It's funny how so many people stick their nose up at that. Like, who's this guy? Who's this guy talking about atheism with a Jesus on his hat? You know,
Yeah,
it stands out in the area where you're located. But
definitely.
kudos to you for doing that. What's in the future for you? What do you see for your current platform? What are you hoping for?
I want to put out a bunch of more content on YouTube and just reach more people who are in that spot, who are in that where they're kind of questioning things. Even, you know, that crowd who are maybe still Christians, or have just left the church, or are on the brink of leaving their faith, and they're not sure what's next for them, or they don't have many people who are like them. That's what I want to get involved in, is just making more content that'll reach people like that.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Awesome, Kevin. So let's spin the clock back to 2010. It's 2010, right? Why is that a special year? What's pivotal of 2010?
I used to go for walks around work at my job on break to try to be less fat. And there was a guy out there.
That's 2020 for me. Hold on, man.
Yeah, I'm still struggling, you know.
Right.
But there was a guy out there who always smoked on his break. And so I would be walking around the building, and I would walk, and he'd be smoking, and we'd stop and talk sometimes. And one day, I don't know how, we got to the point of talking about religion, and I had already kind of stopped going to church because our church sort of had a split, and then they moved locations. And so I was sort of starting to question things a little bit, but he asked me if I believed in God, and I said, yeah. And he asked me why. And then we just kind of talked about it. And he said that he used to be a preacher, and like at a pretty young age. And then he was wanting to go to college, and his whole church was talking about, you know, don't go to college, the liberal professors, and they're going to, you know, it's the devil's playground, basically, college. You know, they're going to try to educate you. And so he, against their judgment, went to college and took some religions classes and learned about, you know, the older religions, the origin of a lot of other religions, and how some of those had a very similar story to the birth of Jesus. And he started questioning more things. and he said he realized that where you're born in the world or what your parents believe is a huge reason of why people believe. It's like region based or what their parents believe, and it's like a light bulb just went off for me right then. I was like, holy shit, that's it.
Yeah.
If I were born somewhere else, or if my parents were a different religion, I would be too. And so it just sort of, that was like a huge crack in the foundation of my belief. And from there, I just sort of started falling away from the faith. And I was like, I really don't have any good reason to believe this. I started examining, and I was like, I think it was all just kind of emotion and indoctrination and wasn't ever really real.
Hey, shout out to the Zen groundskeeper. Who was this guy?
No, he worked in the office, but he just took smoke breaks out there outside sometimes.
Hey, shout out to that guy. What a cool dude.
I know. Yeah, he and I are still friends.
Oh man, that's awesome. So you were walking around minding your own business, and this guy just happened to enlighten you with some cool insight. That's really awesome.
It's almost like getting witnessed to, but in the opposite direction, like he's leading me away from Jesus instead of to him.
Yeah, it's like some Ricky Gervais knowledge dropping bombs on you.
Mm-hmm.
So 2010, now is 10 years. 10 years is gone. You're 10 years into atheism. I think you get like an award from the
do I get a plaque?
You get like a watch or something at some point.
Sweet.
Yeah. Austin, you're going to get to talk to Austin here shortly, I think. And Austin's relatively new into atheism, and he sometimes will struggle with things because he was involved in Christianity for like 30 plus years. And he'll sometimes still struggle with that mindset because indoctrination is such a strong hold on oneself. So do you ever struggle with things like the mindset? Does that ever creep back into your way of thinking or anything? Or
yeah, even still, I don't have. I say I'm an atheist and I don't believe in God and I don't really have a reason. But sometimes I can't lie, that thought will creep back in. Like, what if they're right? What if there really is a God? What if I've just been led astray? And so all those fears that you're taught as a child or as a teen, they stick in your mind, and it's hard for them to go away, I guess, sometimes. But for the most part, no. But every now and then I'll have that thought, like, I guess it's possible. I could be wrong. They could be right about all this, but I don't think so.
Your parents, are they religious folks? Or
my mom is. My dad believes in God too. He doesn't ever go to church or anything. But my mom, yeah, she's a fundamentalist. And I never told them until last year when I went through that breakup. They were baffled. Why? Why did you guys break up? Because we seemed so good together. And then I was like, maybe it's time. It's been 9 years. Maybe it's time I tell them that I don't believe in God now. And so I told them that I didn't believe in God. I didn't use the word atheist because if you do, I think they, burn you at the stake. But
I think kittens die. I think that I don't know the number of kittens
die.
They do. Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't use that word, but I think I just said I don't believe anymore. And my mom was sad, and she still probably prays for my salvation, I'm sure. But my dad, he is religious, but he, it's not like he's not like a every church or every Sunday church person or reading the Bible and stuff. He just definitely is patriotic, and he believes that we're a Christian nation and all that good stuff. So
sure. So he's like an average Joe then, in other words. He makes up the majority. Then your mom would be like a couple of steps into the more fundamentalist. Is that what you're leaning toward? Okay.
Yes.
So going forward now, Kevin, if you could come on to the show again, because we're going to have you back. We're going to get some guests, right? We're going to have some people on the show in a different position than us, right? There will be some folks that have different beliefs or hold cherished beliefs in other deities. Maybe somebody that's a Hindu or somebody that believes Allah to be God, even though it means the same thing as the Christian God.
Mm-hmm.
How would you talk with them as an atheist? How would you have a conversation with them? And what would your articulation of discussion be in regards to how they got to their belief system? And would you try and change their mind, or would you just have a conversation? How would that go?
I think it would be mostly just questions, just me asking them why. I guess, the epistemology, street epistemology method of just asking them what they believe, why, how they got to that conclusion, and then sort of drawing parallels between that and other religions, and how, other religions are similar in some ways, and they come to this like different conclusions than you do. What makes them wrong and you right, kind of thing. I wouldn't try to sway anybody. I guess just sort of bring awareness is the main thing for me. Just that it's possible to think differently from how you've been taught, how you've been raised. And I know for Christians, when you leave the faith and you start asking those questions out loud, it's scary. Like, I remember when I first deconverted, just asking myself, or just asking the question out loud, like, could there be no God? Could there really actually be no God? And saying those words out loud was scary as hell to me, because I had been so entrenched in Christianity for a decade, and it's just really scary. But I think the main thing is, when you're having conversations with people who are of a different faith than you, or no faith, or whatever, is just ask questions and try to be respectable. I know some of the shit that I do on TikTok is, prodding a little bit. Those are just TikToks. What do you want me to do? But when you're having conversations with people, I think it's best to try to be respectful and just ask them why. Ask them how they got there.
And if you bump into some folks that are still deeply rooted in their faith, but may have like inquisitive thoughts or some questions that they may ask you privately, or may reach out to you in your private message, and reach out to you in confidence, what would you tell them? Like, if I'm reaching out, I'm a Christian and I'm questioning my faith, what would you tell me?
I would tell you that questions are good. Questions are what we need, because too many people just want answers instead of asking questions. And I think questions are the better thing. You don't, people want to just, I think that's why so many people do believe in God, in my opinion. It's God of the gaps kind of thing, where we don't have an answer to every question. And so they just, want to fill that with God. And it's okay to say, I don't know. I think that's one of my favorite things. I think Eric Murphy says that all the time, but it's like, it's okay to say, I don't know, to not have all the answers. That's okay. So just keep asking yourself questions, ask the people around you questions. If it's safe, if they're not kids who live with parents who would disown them if they don't believe the same way they do, so you always have to be careful about that kind of stuff. But just ask questions to yourself and the people around you.
Yeah. And then lastly, because I want to make sure that Mr. Murder Shed Steve gets an opportunity. And I know we have, somebody was telling me earlier, we have Just Jeff backstage eating atheist lasagna in the agnostic green room for ex-Catholics. But Oz is going to come in and chat with you as well. But I also wanted to hear about a story I heard about you, where a friend of yours, when you were growing up, when you were young, kind of questioned the Noah's Ark story, which to me is very believable. I find that story to be quite word
Absolutely.
for word.
Absolutely. If there's one story in the whole Bible that's absolutely true, it's that one.
Yeah. Jeff, Just Jeff. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff, the atheist weasel-faced troll.
I am, yes.
Yeah, he actually swears by that story. It's what got him into Christianity to begin with.
Yeah.
But I heard a story about you where that's one of the stories that kind of got you thinking. It's almost like the Santa Claus thing, where
Exactly.
you get to a certain age where you're like, hang on a second, this guy's going to go by everybody's house. Hang on.
Yeah,
You
yeah. Wait,
start to use critical
how is that
thinking.
possible? How does he do that?
Yeah. And then somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, no, God, this is God. God, you don't use logic with God. God,
Yeah. Santa, it's all magic.
Yeah.
Of course he can get around the planet in one night.
So what happened there? Was this in school? Where was this?
Yeah, it was in middle school. I was about 13 or 14 probably, and I had no idea what brought this conversation up. We were at the track for gym class or whatever, and somehow we got to talking about Noah's Ark, and I was a Christian at the point, and this guy was an atheist, and he never believed in God from what I knew. And he said, "Do you really think that that's possible? Do you really think that 2 of every animal got on that boat?" And I was just like, I never really questioned it, but that doesn't really seem possible. But after that conversation, I sort of like, even though that like opened up this gap where I could actually think, it like closed back up, and I'm like, nah, it happened. It was God. It happened. But you want to talk about a full circle story? That same guy I'm friends with on Facebook still, and he shared a meme that I had made from my Jesus Unfollower Instagram account unknowingly. He didn't know that it was me. He doesn't know that I run that account, and he shared it on his Facebook page, and I just thought that was funny as hell. And I messaged him, and I was like, "Did you know that I made that?" And he's like, "What?" Because it was some big science Facebook page shared my meme, and then he shared it, and I was like, "That was me that made that." And he was like, "How cool!" And I just thought that was funny because he was an atheist back then, and I was a Christian, and now I'm doing this atheist activism, if you want to call it that, or podcasts and all this stuff. I just thought that was funny.
That's awesome. That actually is pretty cool, and it's perfect time to segue into the swing back around actually to the cool branding that you have. And I mentioned earlier when I first came across your page and your YouTube channel, I love the way you set everything up. I love your name, the stylistic way you got the Jesus and the Unfollower and the colors and stuff. When I came up with the Atheist Roundtable and TART, the acronym or whatever, it's like my baby, right? That's like my little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It started as a Skype group that I created on the guys I met through TikTok. Oz being the first person I met, and then Jeff and Steve and all these guys. I'm on this thing all the time. It's like a OCD project of mine. How do you approach that? Is that the same thing with you? Is it something that you obsess over, or?
What, just the branding and the name and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, everything, like the whole outfit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I lost my full-time job back right before the pandemic, and I went for a couple of interviews, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and nobody was hiring. And I was like, I'm going to dive completely into this thing. Maybe it's a sign from God that I need to be doing this, but yeah, this is, I'm happy to have Jesus Unfollower as my handle on everything, as on all social media across the board. And I love what I'm doing. And I like that the name is a little bit controversial. Doesn't bother me, even though people say that I still acknowledge Jesus in the name. I don't really care.
Gotcha. With I went on TikTok as Mike's Ministry at first, where I was doing like satirical. I was like a satirical pastor, obviously, and then I just switched it to pasta. Pasta like the flying spaghetti monster.
Mm-hmm.
As a play on words, but same thing. I think that the whole gimmick that you got going on, I think is great, and kudos, man. I've enjoyed having a chat with you, and I think we got more things to discuss. I'm going to bring in Just Jeff. I'm just checking. I'm talking to my my stage runner here. Let me see if he's in my ear. Just Jeff, are you back there? He's getting his hair and makeup done. Let me just make sure. Hold on one second. So, Kevin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Just Jeff. We're going to talk about some of the website stuff here for a moment. We're going to do a quick interlude,
Okay.
Then we're going to bring in Austin, and Austin's going to chat with you for a little bit. That's Oz. He goes by Oz on the street. He's one of those guys that was a Christian as well. So you and him can have a lot of good conversation. And then Murder Shed Steve is in the back as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but
he scares me a little bit. I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna be honest. He kind of scares me at times.
He is a scary guy. I'm not gonna BS you. But let me bring in Just Jeff here for a second. What's up, Just Jeff? Hey, what's up,
How's it going?
buddy?
Well, just this is my new location for the time being. I'm renovating now the upstairs after finishing the downstairs, so I've had to move all my stuff into the dining room.
Oh man, you're looking suave there, buddy. Is that your work? Is that your home gym behind you? What's that?
Where? This?
Oh no,
it's
it's
home
the
gym.
The cat. That's the cat climber.
Yeah, there's a cat tree there. Yeah, that's funny. Ha ha ha.
Dude,
But you know what isn't a joke?
I can hear an echo.
Well, is that better?
Check 1, check 2. Well, a little bit better.
Well, I still have to obviously work out some of the pieces. It is a bigger room. I don't have my sound insulation down here, so hopefully I'll have that room done quickly and then be able to move back into my new wonderful backdrop, wonderful bookshelf for all my atheist books and stuff and things like that. So, but we do need to talk about the redesign of not only my room, but also the website.
Bingo.
So what you'll need to do, Pasta, though, is I shared my screen with the website, so you're going to have to pull it up.
Oh, hell yeah, I am.
There it is. So there's our redesign. New logos, new round table desk thing. Looks like we're in like a, Spider or Superman movie here. And still the same old links, though. So we still have the Tart link tree, which is available at linktr.ee/Tart. That will take you to our Facebook page, the official website, the YouTube channel, the Patreon. And if you have Patreon, and if you haven't checked out the Patreon, now would be the best time to do that, as there's been a new influence or new attention given to the Patreon from Oz, looking to add more exclusivity, more benefits, more communication back and forth. So you want to make sure that you're following that. And of course, contributing, if you want to continue to see us making some of this content. And one of the other important pieces here, which would be the upcoming calendar. So you can always check the calendar, but also you can look at our being on the show. So if you look down here in the bottom right, you have a little bubble you can click on. And here you can type in your name and your email. And actually that'll send an email over to Austin so we can see if you would be a good fit for the show. Of course, checking out the shop.
And let me take a moment to shout out Braxton Brower, Lola Ray, I'm Just Trolling, which is you, Jeff, Brad West, Grumpy Old Cuss, Sean Alexander, which is Atheist Pumpkin, Philosopher Lobster. I'm not going to give that person's identity away, but he's a rascal. Those are our current Patreons. So much respect to those fellas. We got some of Austin's chest hair in the mail on its way.
Speaking of Austin, the limited edition Mute Oz t-shirt. If you don't have one, you should have one because they are limited edition. They're not going to be made forever. Anyway, so that's the website for you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Buddy.
You're welcome.
You want to say hi to Kevin, or do you just want me to
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
Hey, thank you, Jeff.
Are you on the brink of taking more theist calls? I see you on TikTok every night.
I'm trying, and I got to find a way to get that recorded so that we can have some of those good calls, and also figure out how to filter them correctly, if that makes sense. I'm only one man.
True.
Anyway, Jeff, you and I are gonna get out of here. You can pop back in with the questions later if you like with Murder Shed Steve, but I think you and I should get the hell out of here. How about that?
Absolutely. We'll be back in 3 days.
All right, so we've discussed my chest hair and muting me. So we're off to a great start, Kevin. So,
Priorities.
so first and foremost, again, Kevin, thanks for being on with us tonight, man. We
Yeah,
appreciate you
man.
taking time to hang out with us and chop it up with us heathens and having a good time. And I just want to say that from a former Christian to another former Christian, I'm really excited, man, for you, and that you wanted to turn up the volume on your voice and be active, and be an influencer in our community, because there are a lot of people that have been in our shoes and have experienced what we've experienced, and there's still the intimidation and the fear to be vocal, and to have a voice. So kudos to you, man. I appreciate it, and I know there's probably people that you and I have never met and probably will never talk to that we've had a influence on, or at least help them along the way. So I appreciate that, and I know the other ones that follow your content would say the same thing. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that, man, and thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So let's dig into a little bit of the background. And one of the things that listening in stood out to me is you brought up Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames, and there was another one, and it's I love that you actually brought that up, because on our drive home, my now wife and I, on the way home, we're discussing some of those things. And another one that I experienced was called, I think it was called Hell Stop. And what it was is it was a Christian's version of a haunted house, and they would reenact car accidents, debacled surgeries, things like that, where your loved ones or friends would die. And what they would do is then put it in front of you. Okay, if this were to happen to you today or tomorrow, do you know Jesus? Would you go to heaven, or would you go to hell? So I think back to those things, and they're very similar, and I remember what those things did to me, and how now at 39 years old, how I feel about it looking back. When you look back at those experiences now, as an adult and a grown man, and you can think for yourself and make your own decisions, how do you feel about those things now?
That they're very manipulative, and that really things like that shouldn't be shown to kids or teens, anybody who's not an adult. Really, it's just awful. I've never heard of that one that you're talking about. That sounds like it might be even worse.
Yeah. And I would probably agree, because I do know the Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames. I know that format. I probably saw that skit or drama, whatever they wanted to call it, probably 100 times growing up.
Yeah.
And the Hell Stop model, there's different names for it, but the Hell Stop model is definitely more fear driven, much more. Not saying that Hell's Gates wasn't, but when you're literally putting kids in a quote unquote haunted house around Halloween time and reenacting car accidents where there's like teenagers that are like soaked in blood from a drunk driving accident or whatever, that's not normal.
No,
that's not how you convince somebody. That's how you scare somebody into doing something, right?
Yes, absolutely. And the people who put those things on are probably the same people who are anti regular haunted houses and think that they are bad, but they'll put something like that on, no problem. Just throw kids into a haunted house of hell. Yeah, sure. Because it's slap a Christ label on there and we're good to go.
Yeah, which now where I'm at, I would much rather if I had to, I'd much rather have my kids walk through a regular haunted house than to ever go through one of those things where it's like, if you die, like we're going to depict, if you die, you're going to go to hell. I would do that. And I don't know about you, but my parents, they wouldn't allow me to go to a haunted house. There was no discussion. But those things, we could attend those things.
Yeah, well, it's under the guise of church and under the guise of salvation. Like, this is going to help you. Here, go into this haunted house for your soul's benefit.
Yeah.
No, man.
That's 100%.
Horrible. I'd never heard of that one before, but now I know what I have to look up on YouTube next.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there. The other thing, Kevin, that I'd like to talk about is the you mentioned you had gotten a relationship was you were dating, and that ended. You know, that relationship ended, and it was with somebody that was a believer. Seventh Day, I think you
Hmm.
shared. When that relationship ended and you started to filter out of that and filter through those emotions and all of that, what were some of the things that you maybe had to come to terms with emotionally, when you're leaving not just a relationship, but realizing that not only is this relationship not for me, but this God church thing isn't for me at the same time?
Yeah, it was tough, man. I just had to really take a hard look in the mirror and think, I don't know if I can really be with a believer again, because of those differences, and because at some point it's always going to get to that point in a relationship if they are like a frequent church attender, or if you're looking to have kids down the road, you're going to have to make that decision about, do you raise them in church? Do you raise them, teach them how to think or what to think, kind of thing. And so yeah, after that breakup, before that breakup, I had never watched the ACA, anything atheist experience, never even heard of it. And I've been an atheist for a long time, but I just dove headfirst into YouTube and started watching stuff about dealing with breaking up with religious differences and all that stuff, and that just led me down the atheist YouTube rabbit hole where I started watching Matt Dillahunty until 3 a.m, and just binging all that stuff, and it just really fueled the fire for what I'm doing now. I originally just started on Instagram. I was just going to make stupid memes, and my original name was Jesus Shaves. Jesus Shaves, because I was just going to do just a couple dumb memes here and there, but it just really turned into something else. But yeah, that breakup was tough, man, because I'm like I said, I was indifferent about religion for a long time, just kind of whatever. It's not a big deal if somebody's religious. But then going through that experience, feeling like I was really compatible with someone, except for that one thing, it just I was like, man, I gotta start doing start podcasting, start trying to find more people who are like me, because around here there are not that many people in my everyday life who are outspoken non-believers. It's just a rarity down here. So I was like, I have to find community for like-minded people, and that's what I've done.
Right. And the one thing that I do appreciate about the community that we do have here is the atheist community, especially here on YouTube, is we love to help each other, and especially when people are coming out of that, when they're exiting faith or they're running away from faith, is they try to help push those people forward and help them get better, just like Pasta has with me, and not just Pasta, but Steve and Jeff, and even Ben now, they're always trying to help and assist, and that's one thing that I do love about this community is we
Yeah.
we really do try to help any way we can. So the the other thing I want to ask you about the end of kind of those, or the defining line, I guess, of those two relationships, one the romantic relationship, but then coming to the point where it's like, okay, not only am I an atheist, but I feel like at this point now I need to be vocal about it, right? And I need to raise my voice, so to speak, about it. For me, I was going through a transition in coming out as an atheist and deciding, okay, not only am I'm lacking belief, but I feel like I need to say and I need to tell people what I've been through to help others. Uh, I was also going through a really, really nasty divorce, all at the same time. And there were moments or pockets of that time frame that some days it felt really, really good. I was rejuvenated and excited. Then there are other days that I was just lonely and miserable because I had lost not just a marriage and my family, but then this relationship with this God that had taken up majority of my time. So now I don't even know where to put my time. I don't know what my identity is because my identity was in that church and in that God. So there was just some really dark nights, some really lonely nights. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially like when I first left the faith back in 2010. I mean, I played in the worship band at church. You know, I was at the church like 3-4 days a week, just for services or for like band practice or whatever. I was always entrenched in that community, fellowship, whatever word you want to use. And then to go from that to like just kind of cut off from all of it, it was tough. And I was married at the time too, and then we got divorced a few years later. But actually, me leaving the faith didn't really affect our marriage all that much, because I guess she was still a believer, but neither one of us were going to church anymore and stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of been a roller coaster, man. Like, because I was like so involved in the church, and then nothing, and then kind of really didn't have too many opinions on religion until last year. Boom, all of a sudden last year I find myself in this Seventh-day Adventist church for several Saturdays. Sorry, not Sundays. Not Sundays, Saturdays. And
Get it right, Kevin.
Yeah, the Sabbath, sorry. And just feeling like, man, this is really weird to be back in church, because it had been, 9 years or so since I had been in church. And then going through that whole thing again. I never really cared to go to church, and then the breakup, and it was just like that whole roller coaster, just falling back out of that again, and just feeling like that's when I decided I was like, I need to be vocal. I need to speak up, because for the last several years I haven't. And it gets to a point where you feel like you can let people talk about religion all day and post on their social media about their God and what he does and their favorite scriptures, and about Satan and about everything all the time. And you just have to suck it up and deal with it. And so it's like, why should I really have to hide how I feel about those same kind of topics? I shouldn't have to, just for other people's sake, to spare other people's feelings. And I'll be honest, I still don't post much about atheism on my personal accounts. I did recently add all my Jesus Unfollower stuff to my personal like bios and stuff, and that kind of felt like a big step for me, because it is hard. I don't have a lot of Christian friends. I guess I do. I have some, but I have a lot of acquaintances and stuff, and I really shouldn't be scared to lose those, because it's not like I ever really talk to them anyways. But it's still that feeling of, I don't know, like you kind of feel weird about posting stuff like that. And it's crazy, because it's almost like that was instilled in me years ago, that this stuff is taboo to talk about.
Yeah, and I went through that. Now I will say, mine was pretty brief, as far as worrying about, because if you went on my Facebook page right now, which I think you and I just became friends on Facebook today, actually, but if you go through there, I would say right now 3/4 of them are Christians, because that's my background, right? And there was a time that I hesitated to say anything, bring it up, but then every time I got on Facebook, it was like, well, they don't hesitate to put their shit down my throat, that they don't hesitate to tell me about their God, so why should I be silenced? Why should I be quiet? So now, if you go on my Facebook page, all I talk about is TART. All I talk about is,
Good.
Activism and everything, because it's, if you can use this platform to push your agenda, and you do it unabated, I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to combat that. So the other thing I think about a lot with people that have, backgrounds and childhoods like yours and I, and what, not just the experience, but what it does long term, and for me, there was, and I'm not saying this is everybody, for me there was a lot of abuse and religious trauma, and and all those things that were involved, and I never want to assume that anybody else has ever experienced that, but coming out of it, did you experience any type of abuse or trauma, the religious trauma, exiting faith, exiting religion, anything like that?
Actually, no, not really. That's one of the common misconceptions I think that a lot of people make. I know that a lot of people go through religious trauma and hurt, but people think that we become atheists only because of that. A lot of, I hear that a lot, like, oh, you just went through some horrible church experiences. My church experiences were good for the most part, except for that time that preacher grabbed my tongue and made me talk into a microphone. We can talk about that a different time if you want. But for the most part, my church experiences were pretty good, and I made a lot of friends. And but yeah, there wasn't that much trauma or abuse, anything like that. I mean, I did feel kind of emotionally manipulated by a lot of things, but I don't think it was done out of a place of bad intention. Those people truly believe that that's the truth, and they're living it. And so it's not like they're intentionally lying to me or trying to do any harm to me emotionally or anything like that.
Well, and that's what I try to tell people, because I agree with you. I don't think it was I don't think it's intentional in nature, but it is built into the fabric of what they do. As far as the emotional leading, the psychological leading, that's just how they're taught. They're doing what they believe is right, even though it's not right.
Right. Yep.
So I would agree with that. So no type of religious trauma or anything walking out, which I think is great, because you're right. Most current theists would say, well, you just hate God or you hate church, and that's not something that they can necessarily attach to you, because you don't make the claim of experiencing an abuse or religious trauma, anything like that. So I think that's a plus for you, because that's already argument over.
Yeah. They have to understand that, just like they're not all the same, we're not all the same either.
Yeah.
I'm doing some TikToks right now, a little series on that too, like misconceptions about atheists too, just to try to dispel some of that stuff, because we're not all the same. We didn't all go through the same experiences, and we don't hate God. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. And even with myself experiencing a lot of those things, I don't have a hatred for a God. I lack the belief that the God even exists. So how do I hate something that I don't believe exists? And they say, well, then you had fucked up stuff happen at church, so you hate church and church people. No, I actually don't hate the church or the church people. My brother's the pastor of the church I went to, and I love him dearly. I talk to him all the time, so that's not valid. What it is I hate your belief. I hate the faith. I hate the religion and the construct, and the things they lay forward, that you have to do this, this, and this, or you're going to burn in a hell. That's what I hate. That people are controlled and manipulated by that. So would you share that same? Would you share that same perspective?
100%. Yeah, it's not the God that we hate, that we don't believe in. It's the oppression and religion being injected into government and stuff like that, making laws around a God that the majority happen to believe in. And so, yeah, it's just the damage that can be done in God's name, not necessarily the God himself.
Right. Totally agree. Then going back to your church experience. So, like I said, you stated no type of trauma or abuse or anything. But when you did, Kevin, when you finally walked away and you said, I'm really done with this. I'm done with the God thing, the faith thing. Did you lose friendships? How was your family relationships impacted? What did that look like?
It's funny, because a couple of my best friends also became atheists, so that was really good for me. But I did lose some friendships, and it was mostly, church friends. We just kind of went our separate ways. It's kind of on the reverse side of that. In high school, I lost one of my very best friends because I was the religious one, and he was not at all. And I was trying to tell him how to live his life, and that certain musicians that he was listening to were that he was idolizing them, and that they were of Satan. And then our friendship just ended. So that friendship ending hurt a lot. And then now it's like, can I get that back? Can I get that back? Because I'm not a Christian anymore. But it's like kind of too late. But yeah, and my family, as far as my family goes, a lot of them still don't know that I'm an atheist. Only a few do. Luckily, my sister is not, like, she kind of left the faith too. So we're really, we've always been the closest, like, of all my family. So that has been helpful for me for sure. I haven't lost a ton of friendships though. Most of them, a lot of people probably think that I'm backslidden or whatever. At least my church acquaintances, that, he's just backslidden for a decade. He'll come back, kind of thing. But my best friends and stuff, most of my best friends, I'm still friends with, and it hasn't really been affected.
Okay. Yeah, because without going all the way into it, I lost just about all my friendships, and it was sad, because I thought, I thought we were boys, I thought we were cool, but it actually was a church thing.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a relationship. It was just a church and a God thing. So, and I know, I know several people that have been fortunate like you to not lose a bunch of relationships, but I also know quite a few that got kind of left, high and dry, where it was like, well, I thought we were cool regardless of whether I, believe in your God or not. So, kudos to your friends that didn't use that as an excuse just to, alienate or, ostracize, because that's usually what happens. What is one thing that you would maybe, some advice, or this will be my last question. What's one, maybe two things that you would tell somebody that's trying to exit religion, exit faith, just little pieces of advice? What could they do? What questions could they ask? What's a good formula, or, I don't know if there's a good formula, but what's a suggested formula to try to do that in the most healthy way possible?
I think the first thing is just ask yourself why you believe what you do, where that belief came from, and if you would have that same belief if it wasn't indoctrinated to you, if it wasn't told to you by your parents or by the people around you. Like, really think about it, and not just, kind of think about it. Like, really examine that and see why you believe. And second thing I would say is there's a big community on social media of people who are in that kind of same boat, where they're either like they'll call themselves like progressive Christians because they land somewhere in the middle, and they're not really, it's like a transitive phase, I guess, for a lot of people, or that they just have left religion. I think it's important to find other people who are similar, because you're probably not going to get that if you've been going to church all your life or whatever. You're probably not going to have a lot of those people immediately around you. So the internet's a great thing. Social media is a great thing for that reason, that you can just start to look around and know that you're not alone in those thoughts and those questions.
Right. And I know we've put a couple links in there, and really quick, Kevin, before we intro the murderous one in here and start doing some Q&A, where can they, anybody that's viewing, listening right now, or later on, how do they find you on YouTube, the TikToks, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Tweeters? How do they find you?
YouTube.com/JesusUnfollower, or @JesusUnfollower on everything. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere. It's @JesusUnfollower. Facebook too. Or you can go to my website, JesusUnfollower.com. It's got everything there. Links to the podcast too. In addition to YouTube, I do the audio podcast too. So if you just want to subscribe to that, that's cool. So that's it, man. JesusUnfollower.com. You can find everything there.
Awesome. So if you're listening, watching right now, or in the future, go check our boy out. Make sure you subscribe, like everything. If you don't, it's your loss, not ours. But go check him out. But now we want to bring on the murderous one. Where is Steven?
So it's time for Q&A with Murder Shed Steve.
Wait. Can you provide evidence that a God exists? Oh. Well, how's it going, everybody? Hey, Oz, where's Oz at? Where's that Oz guy? Oh, hey, there he is. Hey, how's it going, Oz?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, we're ready for Q&A. So, did you know that it takes the same amount of bite force for a baby carrot as it does for a pinky?
I knew that only because last night you challenged me to try to find that out, and I did so.
Yes, the pinky bite off.
Yep, I won't tell you who's pinky. I won't tell you who's pinky, but I found out.
I can't remember who won that one either.
That doesn't matter. That's beside the point.
It's irrelevant. We both had delicious pinkies. How's it going, Kevin? Or should I call you Jesus Unfollower as I know you?
Whatever you want to call me, man. I'm cool with that.
Whatever I want to call you.
I didn't realize that little video intro of you right there. I thought that the last part of it was still part of the video when it cut to you live. That was pretty funny, dude.
No, that changes every time depending on the situation in the murder shed. So in any case, we've got some questions for you if you want to answer them.
Cool, man. Yeah.
I got one. Actually, I think this
I'm
one
DTF.
DDA. Down to answer questions. So I've got one from Sean, and it's actually more for Oz, I think. But which half of Oz is Christian? The upper half or the lower half?
Upper.
No, I beg to differ, Oz. Come on now, be honest. You're live on air.
Where did this guy come from?
Are you trying to tell me that you don't have big old Christian?
You're gonna lie live on air, Oz.
He's an atheist in the streets and a Christian in the sheets.
Fundamentalist.
Hold on.
Pound Town.
I just came on a weekend from Pound Town. So
You got Kenny Copeland draws on down there, man.
Where's Mrs. Oz? She'll tell you.
Oh,
And Benny Hins on. You got them Benny Hins on, son.
Oh, and it's all it takes.
And everybody goes down like bowling pin.
What happened to this guy?
Jeff just scared.
his hair broke the internet.
Oh, man. Oh, there he is.
So I've got another question here, and it pertains a little bit more to Pasta Mike, and I'm glad that you're here, Pasta Mike. I'm sure you're not going to disappear in a second. Jaws Balls is wondering where and how Pasta Mike got his name, or conceptualize it, because he's trying to be fancy.
He already answered that.
Oh, well, I had a whole joke, so
Yeah, I go back into it. Does he want me to go back into it? So pasta, which is a delicious food group, by the way, carbohydrate rich, depending on whether you go with the long grain or the short grain, the white or the brown. Anyway, so pasta is, a word play. It's a play on words, because pasta and then, pasta. And my name is Mike, oddly enough. So am I really a pasta or am I a pasta?
A pasta.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Pasta Mike from Mike's Ministries.
And then you go like this, and then you go, oh, he's that. And that's not my, that's not me there. So.
So we do have some actual real questions.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Our actual guests. So we're
so we digress.
Yeah, you know what? It's my fault, and I'll take the blame for that.
Don't kill us.
And if anybody has a fucking problem with it, then you can come stop by the murder shed and see how it goes.
Don't kill us, though. But seriously, don't kill us, though.
Fair enough. So, Kevin, Nate G would like to know who has been the most influential person that you've watched, listened, read information from. I had to butcher something, so.
Man, it's tough. Honestly, I would say probably Matt Dillahunty. Like I said back in October, I really man, I just binged the crap out of Atheist Experience, and I was like trying to figure out how. I mean, he's smart as hell, obviously, as you guys know, but just like how to have conversations with these people, how to have conversations with theists. What, if they ask me questions that I might not know how to answer, like that's what I just binged the crap out of it. And I'm trying to read more atheist books now. Like I just haven't really cared over the last decade until, the end of last year. And so I'm reading Misquoting Jesus, Bart Ehrman now, just trying to read a little more on the Bible history and how the New Testament came to be and crap like that. But
that.
A lot, shit like that. But a lot of the ACA stuff, man, really.
Yeah, you're an atheist now, son. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
That's right. By God.
Yeah, shit like that. Kevin, one good one I'll give you, and anybody else that is listening that consider themselves to be readers and want to dig into a book. But Seth Andrews' Deconversion is still one of my favorites. I think I've read it 3 times now. That one's fucking awesome if you're going through a deconversion process or already have.
Got it. We're gonna rush out to the stores and get that, guys. Seth Andrews, I think you get it from Amazon, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Nate's a great guy, by the way. Check him out on TikTok if you're on TikTok for the couple of months that we'll have it left. I got another question from Samuel Doolittle. Sorry, Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I almost got my little toe chopped off for that one. Did you explore other religions when you began to leave Christianity? And do you have any supernatural beliefs at all?
Interesting. Okay.
Actually, no. I mean, I really didn't explore any other religions. I just thought, I just kind of became skeptical about everything. Like, there's really no reason, just like they would have no reason to, try to find God in Christianity. I didn't feel like the need to go explore other religions and try to, see if I agree with what they believe or what they say. So yeah, not really. And as far as supernatural, no, I just don't have any reason to. If for some reason there's some evidence or, I mean, I'm kind of just skeptical now. I guess that's a buzzword, but I believe in aliens. I mean, I think aliens probably exist. That's about the closest thing. I don't have any reason to believe in ghosts or gods or.
Well, those are
like
natural. Aliens are natural.
Yeah. So, I mean, nothing supernatural.
But I have a really good analogy to this.
Go on, Jeff.
To this
Give it
effect. If you go to a magic show and you watch them cut somebody in half, right?
Yeah.
And you believe the entire time that they're actually physically cutting this person in half and putting it back together. And then you see how it's done. You see where they have, the other person's legs, and you see how she scrunches up in the front of the box. And you're like, well, I don't believe in this anymore. And then you go to another theater where they're doing another magic trick. And in this magic trick, they're making somebody disappear from a cage. You're already in on the trick. You know that it's now magic. It's not like you can leave Christianity one magic trick for another magic trick. Like the Band-Aid's been ripped off. It no longer works. You know how it works. You've seen the inner workings of religion. So when you see the same exact excuses and explanations from another religion, you've already been there. You've seen it. So it doesn't work.
I don't know if you guys are South Park fans at all, but I am a huge fan of cock magic.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great.
Yeah.
It's a great.
Cock
form of
magic is great.
Yeah.
I love cock magic.
I also want to shout out the person who's impersonating J Mike in the chat. Whoever's got the fake J Mike account. Hey Jeff, turn the echo off. By the way, they do love street epistemology.
Oh, let me turn off the button that makes the echo.
Yeah. So the fake J Mike loves street epistemology. That's awesome. Anyway.
Well, he's impersonating him very well then. I've got another question for Kevin. What would you suggest is best for posting on Facebook to show your doubts when you have mostly religious Facebook friends? I've been getting unfriended by some, but I don't even care.
It's a good question, Catherine. Like I said before, I've been sort of hesitant. I haven't really posted a lot of atheist content. She's been posting some memes. I've shared a couple of memes and stuff, and it's funny because I actually got unfriended by a couple of people too. Just they can share like washed in the blood of Jesus and everything all day long, but I'm like, question your religion, and they're like, oh, unfriend this motherfucker. It just doesn't make any sense. But I'm like,
Absolutely.
I think it's just, and I got to take my own advice here too, but just be yourself. I mean, we only live once. I know that's a cliche to say, but why we really shouldn't hold back how we feel about that topic, because nobody else does.
Put your hand down.
Yes, Oz.
Is he just excited about his wedding ring? Is that what
Well,
he's showing
I
off?
was about to say, first of all, did you guys see that?
Look at that.
Blang, and
that happened. That happened. That happened.
Hmm.
But if I could answer that question very, very easily, is just post a bunch of YouTube links to Anthony Magnabosco's page for your Christian friends, and they will fall in fucking love with it. Because there's not a more diplomatic or simple approach to figuring out what you believe and why you believe it than what he does. So just post that. Then it's not personal. It's not you. It's not your friends talking about it. It's about some guy they've never met, and he's doing it. I think that's a great approach.
Or you can share a conversation of Ricky Gervais and Richard Dawkins, like I did, that pissed people off. I just shared that. And I was like,
Nothing you will do will not upset them. And so if you're living your life trying to not upset other people, then you're not being genuine to yourself.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you owe it to yourself, man, to be you. And I like I said, I got to take my own advice on that.
Well, I got a couple more questions that we're going to go through here. One is from Samuel Doolittle.
Oh, him.
Yeah,
I know
that
Sam.
Samuel guy.
No, that's Sam. That's Sam Doolittle.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
The other guy
No,
was
no.
Samuel.
It's Sam Do Nothing. Samuel
Oh.
Do Nothing.
Oh, do nothing. Okay.
Anyway,
Anyway.
do you ever talk to your parents? And if so, how often does God exome
Sum up.
up?
Sum up. Okay.
Some up. Or I think he may have meant come.
I think he means
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. He does have his own language. Sam.
Yeah, I still talk to my parents all the time. Just try not to about God as much as possible. Because if religion comes up, then my mom just gets that sad look on her face, like, "Oh, my son's lost," kind of thing. But so I try to avoid the God conversations if at all possible. Just what they say, avoid politics and religion when you're around your family. I think that's probably, for the most part, unless you just want to have arguments and be miserable, it's probably good advice.
If you want to preserve the relationship, as Matt Dillahunty would say.
Yeah.
My dad unfriended me on Facebook.
Shit.
Oh God, that's like official too, right? Facebook means more than anything.
Not just an unfollow, he completely unfriended you.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Completely.
That's fucking brutal, Jeff.
Yikes.
I don't know if it was my political comments or the Jesus comments. It's one of the two that got him.
Probably both.
You know what? I have a comment, but I'm going to save it for later in private, Jeff, because I think it'll be very funny, but maybe not quite appropriate. And I'm going to let everybody hang on that one. Kat the Humanist has another question, and I think we're going to end it out with this one. Yeah, Kat the Humanist.
She's a humanist.
She sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Did you fear hell when you left? And I'm going to add...
When you left hell, Kevin...
when you left hell,
it?
Did you fear it?
Did you fear that place?
Have you?
And I'm
Close
going
the
to
door on the way out,
add
basically. Did you close that door?
I'm going to add a little extra to that. How long did it take you to eliminate that fear, if you did?
Yeah, I did fear it for a while. Like I said, when I started asking myself those questions out loud, like, could God really be not real? And like, that fear of hell was real. And probably for, I'd say, like maybe 6 months, and it just started to die off. After a few months, it was like, it was still there. It would kind of resurface from time to time, but overall, like maybe about 6 months to a year at the most, of where I was still holding on to that. Like that would kick up every now and then, and I would be like, what what if I'm wrong? Like, am I going to go to hell? But yeah, so it took a little bit, but I think some people is maybe even longer than that.
I've heard stories.
If real quick, if I just say, I still have nightmares. Like as a grown ass man, I still have nightmares over being told if you do this or don't do that or don't act a certain way, talk a certain way, you're just going to suffer in this eternal shit show that is hell, and Satan's going to rule over you. So that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with in leaving, is that fear of hell. And I've had to talk to my therapist about it. So there's some people that it is a short-lived thing, but it's something for me that I struggle with big time.
I had the fear of heaven.
What does Mrs. Oz do when you have these nightmares?
You don't want to know.
She qualms them. I gotta say, even as somebody who never really believed in hell, just being surrounded by people who did and asserted that demons and all that kind of stuff, it still is something that crosses your mind, and you think about, well, what if it fucking is real, you know? And you start thinking about it, and you do freak yourself out, because delusional thinking is an evolutionary trait that we've all taken on, isn't it?
Well, speak for yourself there, Steve. Okay?
Fair enough, Pasta Man.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pasta Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for stopping by the Murder Shed, where answers get questioned.
What's up with this guy? And as we cut to, hey, any calls coming in tonight, Jeff?
Always. I mean, I can tell you right now, I have 10 voicemails that I haven't. This one literally just says used Chrysler Jeep. I don't.
Used Chrysler.
What happened?
What happened?
What?
You just knocked yourself out of the stream, son.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I was just looking at a voicemail I have, and the person just left me a voicemail screaming used Chrysler Jeep.
Look, just to show. Here's the real J. Mike. J. Mike, ask and he will appear. Hey, J. Mike, somebody is impersonating you in the chat. Anyway.
And there's no way to verify if they're as handsome as you are.
No, exactly. How dare you put a space between the J and the Mike, you silly imposter.
You don't even know about nothing. You don't know sheep.
Hey, Austin, tell him. Tell him about.
Hey, you don't know Jesus. You don't know the people.
No.
You don't know nothing.
You don't know sheet.
You don't know science.
Yeah, I just put on to I text Mike and I said, "Hey, are you trolling?" And he's like, "Loki just said the same thing." No. I'm getting my feet done. I was like, "Hey, anyway." Yeah, look, I know you're laughing. Jesus Mike does get pedicures. So
he does have to. He does have to walk.
He walks
on the water,
around he's got a lot. Yeah.
No, he's got to walk on the water. The feet got to be fresh.
They got to be fresh. Jesus
be
Mike.
fresh,
Jesus
They're
Mike.
gonna be taking
I
pictures of
hear
that
he
miracle.
wears.
Jesus Mike got to keep his feet nice. He got their toe game up to par when he be debating them folks in that philosophy.
Well, when you're always wearing sandals, what else are you gonna do? You know,
That's true. That's true.
wear socks. Only psychopaths do that.
Yeah.
It's not stylish.
But hey, Kevin, what do you think, man? You've been on the round table. You qualify now as part of the group here. The only person that you can't go and visit is Steve. I think anybody seen T Jump? Where's T Jump at?
We're not. Don't worry about T Jump.
Is
T
he
Jump's
off
fine.
camera?
He's fine.
off
He's
camera?
okay. I promise. I promise he's fine. I pinky promise. Okay. We might live in the same state or whatever, but it's not like I just go around murdering everybody who's online in the same state as me.
But
crazy.
But Steve, before I call authorities, I need to know that he's still alive.
Thanks for stopping by the Murder Shed.
Well, What a
So somebody
great
call,
way
somebody
to
call the authorities.
Yeah, what a great way to end the show. Well, Just Jeff, what do you got going on, Just
Hold
Jeff?
on. I can get T Jump.
Okay.
You guys want to see T Jump real quick?
Yeah. Go get
Hold on.
Get ready to laugh, everybody. Hold on.
Hey guys, I'm T Jump. I'm totally okay. See? Ah! See, he's super happy.
Oh, so that's how we got the resurrection story in the Bible. Was that exact reenactment right there?
Well, we don't have T Jump's
The
body.
shed was empty.
Exactly.
So you know, he
And that's
resurrected.
proof.
Exactly.
So if
Evidence.
the real J Mike is watching, the fake J Mike gave us a thumbs down, buddy. So
Yeah.
talk to your
So he
fake-
put a space between Jay and Mike, but not between thumbs and down. I see.
Yeah. See?
Talk to your apostles.
Yeah. A big shout out to Ben G too, our homie. Ben G, the Bruce Lee of SE. But hey, just want to thank Mr. Kevin, Jesus Unfollower, for coming on the show. Anything you got coming up you'd like to plug, Kevin, in the near future?
Well, I do YouTube videos that come out every Tuesday, and tomorrow's is some misconceptions about atheists. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. I would much appreciate it. That's the main thing I want to plug.
Awesome. Absolutely, guys. Go and jump on over to Jesus Unfollower on a YouTube. Just hit that like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to get notified. Just Jeff, let's have a little chat with you. You go live on TikTok on a regular basis. You do these hour-long lives. Ungodly amounts of people get in there. I've seen as many as like 70, 80 people in your live at one time. You're taking calls. I've heard some really interesting calls on your live streams. If you follow Just Jeff, which he goes by Atheist Troll on TikTok, he has some really cool live streams, which none of us do. The rest of us suck at lives on TikTok. Jesus Mike does some pretty good lives on TikTok as well. But Jeff does a call in. He's brave enough to give his phone number out. So do you want to talk about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I gave out my phone number. It's
Why does he keep disappearing?
I've looked up that phone number.
What's Jeff
what's
keep-
going
try
on?
and get it-
What'd you
why
break?
does why does Jeff keep disappearing?
That's my phone number. 678-506-5108. You can call or text. I may not respond.
Oz, are you taking Jeff out of the stream? What's going on?
Nope.
Look at that face, Jeff. Look at Oz's face up there.
It might be because I'm since I'm in my secondary streaming location, I am on Wi-Fi, which is not as good as being wired, and so it's possible that I just have too much stuff going on.
No, it's objectively Jesus. Jesus is
okay.
doing it.
It's J space Mike.
Okay. And Murder Shed Steve,
Jesus.
let's talk
The real
about how you do these cool videos on Grindr. Let's talk about that. How can people reach you there? Let's talk about that. Let's go.
Yes. So normally it's like a helicopter type situation,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more like the back propeller,
Got it. Mm-hmm.
the little one, you know?
What's that thing with
And,
like the squirrel, the flying squirrel with the little wing, the fleshy wings?
Oh, well,
That's a
you can only
secret.
catch that from behind.
Oh, goodness me. You get
Yeah.
out of here, you rascal. Anyway, on that note, Austin, take us away, man. What's going on?
All right. So before we do sign off, the guys, the other guys are appearing on other shows, and I'm getting Ben's lined up. But right here in front of me right now, I have Murder Shed Steve will be on the Empathetic Atheist show on October 1st. And then we have Just Jeff appearing on the same show on the 3rd, so a couple days later. And then we have, let's see, Just Jeff on Neil's show, Neil the 604 Atheist on the 5th. And then we'll have Objectively Dan back with us on the 11th. And then Ben G will be on with Neil the 604 Atheist on the 17th. And then the 18th, October 18th, we will have Ethan from YFNA and Jenna Belk on to discuss mental health and go through that. And then on 10-4, kind of rewind it a little bit, Pasta Mike will be the host and the director for that show. We're going to have 2 current Christian pastors and two former Christian leaders on, and we're going to listen to them discuss mental health and how full-time ministry impacts mental health on the people involved. So that's going to be a great show, great dialogue, and I'm really looking forward to that one. And Pasta is amazing at coordinating and kind of leading those type of conversations. So I think this would be one of our best episodes that we've put together so far, and that's my humble opinion. So
cool beans.
Yeah, that's a really great topic. Mental health in the ministry. I mean, it's something that I think is overlooked quite a bit.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
And don't forget about Ben GSE, because he's going to be out there. I did chat with him the other day. He's gotten himself some mics to be attached to him, and he's going to be going out to actually do some street epistemology, and he's going to be going to his local community and hopefully getting me some footage so I can make some videos for him.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Do you know what the kingdom of God is?
What is Jeff talking about?
I received a handwritten letter from a Jehovah's Witness over the weekend. Say what you will, but these guys are dedicated.
That's how they show they care.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one of the guys in the Discord server is a former Jehovah's Witness. And he said that if they come up to your door and you never want to see them again, tell them you're an apostate. If you tell them that, they are instructed to ignore you as hard as possible and leave immediately.
That's so funny. I was just watching Telltale video a little bit ago, and he sells those signs that says apostate on it. And he said that he was going to put them on his door. Same thing. He said that they'll go away if you do that.
Yep. That's the magic words.
Cool.
Well, on that note, Austin, I'm going to pass this hot mic. I got a hot mic. Catch it, buddy. Catch it. Catch it in your mouth, Austin. Go ahead. Deep dive in.
No.
There you go. No, we're not doing that. We're not going to catch it in your.
It's
No?
just not Pornhub. How many times I can tell you that?
You're not gonna do the mouth catch, or no?
No.
Okay. Well, it's funny how when the live on air sign comes on, you change your attitude. Okay. Well, that's fine. But anyway, take it to the bridge, bro.
To the bridge. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the folks in the chat tonight for coming out, especially Loki. Thank you, Loki, man, all the way from Scotland. One of the coolest dudes. Thank you to Kevin, Jesus Unfollower. Please, if you can, go like and subscribe to his channel. That voice needs to be heard in the secular community. Everybody has tart wishes. Everybody that came over to the chat to get involved today. A wonderful and blessed evening. And by blessed, I mean it in the most secular form I can. It's Pastor Mike. Take care.